Hey everybody, welcome to Slash Bash, where today I am bringing you another Choosing Beggar Reddit video. If you are new to the channel, subscribe and help me hit that 5,000 subscriber mark. We're getting close. In our first story, what do you do when you have a Choosing Beggar family back home who just see you as a cash machine? Let's jump right in. Growing up, I've always heard about this toxic Filipino mentality that they're entitled to their relatives' money abroad. I didn't think that my family was ever like that until this year. Sorry, this is going to be long. A bit of context. My mom is my grandparents' oldest child, of 4, and she was the first to leave the Philippines to work in the UK. And my grandparents raised me in the Philippines until I was 8 when my mom took me here. I was always very close with my family in the Philippines, even when I was here and we called home every day. My mom worked hard and became pretty well off here. She became the main breadwinner not only for my family in the UK, but back home as well. She literally paid for everything. Her siblings eventually all graduated, however, only ended up working low-paying jobs and relied on my mom too. My mom was happy to do it since we were a close-knit family. However, 4 years ago, my mom passed away from cancer, and to say everyone's life changed was an understatement. I was 18 at the time and was going to first year in university. It was horrible, but apart from that I had to become financially independent at such a time, since my relationship with my stepdad just went downhill after my mom passed away. My family back home struggled as well, since they didn't have anyone to financially rely on anymore. I was still very close to them and felt horrible that there wasn't any way I could help them since I was a student myself. My family ended up having to rely on my grandfather's pension money, and both my mom's brothers got decent paying jobs too. I was just happy they were finally okay financially. Now, I'm 22 and have just graduated. The whole time I also had a job to pay for everything, and at the beginning of this year got a job that paid pretty decent. Of course, my family know about this. I talk mostly to my mom's sister and grandma, and because of the whole pandemic thing, I offered my auntie some money to help out because she has kids of her own now, my little cousins. They all live in the same house. However, ever since finding out that I got a better job, all my auntie and grandma ever call me or message me for is to ask for money. This has been happening for a year. They don't even ask me how I'm doing or what I've been up to. It just goes straight to, can we ask to borrow some money? It was a sudden change of attitude. Even when I graduated, the only person that congratulated me was my grandfather. My grandma tells me to buy the iPhone 12 so I can send her my iPhone 11. I worked hard for it. I had a broken iPhone 6 before it. And so many little things like that. That's all they ever ask for. They need a new sofa. They need sneakers to jog. I try to joke it off saying I don't have money yet or whatever, but soon as I say that, they leave or end the call. I guess I'm just venting, but what do I do? I still want a relationship with them, especially my little cousins, but I don't want them to expect me to send money monthly like my mom. I don't have a problem sending money for bills when I have extra, but I just don't understand this entitled attitude over money they didn't earn for material things. In story number 2, when you offer to let a choosing beggar stay in your house for a few months, how long will they stay? More importantly, how will you get them out? This is a story from a few years ago, but it always sticks with me. When I was in my early 20s, I started working for a big cable company. When I started working, there were about 20 of us in my training class. We all became really close and then went on to our designated teams after 2 months of training. Anyway, one of my fellow trainees, we'll call her Sally, went to the same team as me. Sally and I became super tight and often had lunch together and would get together on our off days for shopping, movies, whatever. She seemed to get me and I was super excited to have a new friend. Anyway, Sally was in a pretty awful relationship. Turns out her boyfriend was emotionally abusive, and he would go on these rampages where he'd flip out and start putting all her stuff on the porch, telling her to get out. She would look for a place and plan to move out, and he would draw her back in with promises to change. This went on for a while, and she went back and forth with this dude. I told her if she ever needed a transitional space to crash, then please come crash on my couch for a little bit till you get back on your feet. She finally hit me up, taking me up on the couch. After a big blowout, she finally had enough and decided to make a change. We talked about everything beforehand, and she said she'd be with me for 3 months tops. I have a big place, 1 bedroom, but still big, and told her that'd be fine. She just needs to buy her own food. I wouldn't charge her for utilities or anything. Fast forward a year later, Sally is still living on my couch. It's partially my fault for not pushing her out sooner. We are close friends, and I don't know how to say that she's overstayed her welcome. Well, come to find out, she had been talking to her emotionally abusive ex-boyfriend, and she told me she'd be moving back in with him. We talked about it, she said he changed, whatever. We kind of let our friendship dissipate, as I didn't really support her decision and was still a bit upset from me not forcing her to stand on her own 2 feet sooner. Later that year, I bought my first house. 4 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, in a decent neighborhood in the city where I live. She heard through a mutual friend that I had bought the house, and she texted me congratulating me. I was so happy she'd reached out after months of not really talking that much and being as close as we had used to be. Well, that conversation took a turn into her asking if she could move in with me again because her boyfriend and her were having issues again. She knew I had a lot of extra room and figured she could cash in on the extra space. I said no, that I wasn't looking to live with anyone, and wished her well. Over the next few weeks, she called me 2 to 3 times per day, crying because he was being abusive, but she wouldn't let me call the police or help her find a place. One of my close friends is a domestic violence counselor and offered to get her an apartment rent-free until she got back on her feet. She turned all that down because she still loved him. I can't pretend to know what abuse is like and how people cope with it. After some more begging to move in, I finally relented and she came over to check the place out. When she came over, I showed her the room that'd be hers. It's not huge by any means, but it's a room and it's right across the hall from the guest bath, which no one ever uses unless I have company staying over. She kind of shrugged at it, but whatever. I was touring her around and showed her the master bedroom, which is a large room with a master bath attached to it. She saw this and said, "Wow, this room is way better than the other one. I want this room." I laughed a bit, figuring she was joking, but she had the straightest face ever. She said, "I'm not kidding. Give me this room." I told her no, she should be grateful she'd have any room, let alone rent-free. I was already unsure about welcoming her back to live with me, so naturally this made the decision for me. She stormed out of the house and texted me later that day saying, "Thanks for nothing," and I haven't heard from her since. She quit her job and is still living with her boyfriend last I checked. I think about her from time to time because I worry she is in a tough spot, but literally everyone told me she was using me. I don't know, but I think that it is much better to have her out of my life. In story number 3, A Choosing Beggar shows us just how to negotiate a deal. Hello, is this still available? Hi, yes it is. However, I do have an interested buyer. I'll let you know. If they decide not to, I will contact you and let you know. Thanks heaps, Keen. We'll pay $800 if I have to. Hi mate, looks like you might be in luck. There was another buyer before you, however if you're happy with $800, it's yours. Okay, well if the buyer pulled out, then I'll only pay $650. The $800 offer was for you to ignore him. Hi mate, they haven't pulled out. I'm in a position now where I can pick who it goes to. Including the original buyer, there was also one more before you. I'll check with them if they still want it first. If they don't, I can definitely still do the $650. Of course, if you're still offering higher, I can still sell it to you and let the extra buyer know they missed out. $250, pick up now. Not how it works, mate. $200 right now? This is John from Slash Bash. Thanks for watching. If you've enjoyed the video and want to see more, then please hit that subscribe button. We'd love for you to drop a like, share it with your friends, and we will see you in the next one.